Good evening, St. Louis. My name is Roman Bishop, here with John Huff, coming to you live from beautiful Kirkwood High School. And we are very excited to present to you the first on-air edition of Gateway Sports Venue High School Game Day. This show is meant to be an entertaining and informative sports show for students, players, parents, coaches, and fans of all ages.
So our goal of the show is to not only highlight the best athletes and games in our area, but also provide a fun environment for students and online viewers to enjoy. This show will include analysis of the current St. Louis high school football environment, important games going on in the current week, and current and former athlete spotlights, interactive segments for the fans, and much more.
That's right, John. The main reasons we decided to start this show is primarily to give a bigger platform to our athletes in the area and to give our fans a more interactive experience. Our fans have been amazing since day one, and we're hoping that this show can give them an even better high school experience and get them more involved with school activities.
So before we get into the show, we would like to thank Mr. Corey Neslich, who's the athletic director here at Kirkwood High School, for letting us come and do this and set up here at Kirkwood High School. Without him and the school administration, this would not be possible. So thank you again for letting us use your space.
And with that, let's jump right into some football talk. Let's welcome onto the stage current Kirkwood quarterback Cooper Owens, wide receiver Jacob Eberhardt, and former All-American at Mizzou and Pro Bowler with the Philadelphia Eagles, and current head football coach of Kirkwood, Coach Jeremy Macklin. Gentlemen, come on. Making space for him real quick.
Yes.
All right. So, gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us. Coach, you're 8-1 so far in the year. Been great on both sides of the ball, really. Just talk to us briefly about how you guys have been able to go through some of the ups and downs of the season so far.
You just stay the course. It's one of those things, man. We don't get too high, don't get too low, and just understand that you always want to keep moving in the right direction. And I think that's what these guys have been able to do. Just each and every week, man. Just keep moving in the right direction. You want to be peaking at the right time, and now we got our chance, opportunity to go out here and win a district championship tonight.
So Cooper, starting with you, you're right now top 10 in the area for just about every quarterback statistical category. So you're averaging 255-yard passing a game. What has helped you from the end of the last season to the beginning of this season to step into your role as a quarterback with your first year here at Kirkwood?
I think it just starts by having everyone welcome me so much to this family over here. We've worked hard all summer, worked hard all season. Great group of guys around here, great receivers, great linemen to protect me up front. It helps with the run game. We're able to run, opens up the passing game. So,
Thank you.
So, Coach, in 2013, before your season started, you tore your ACL, which knocked you out for the year. But the very next year, you came back and had an amazing season. Unfortunately, we've seen a lot of guys in the area that are big contributors to their team go down with season-ending injuries to end their high school careers. So what would you say to some of these guys that are going through some tough times and trying to get through rehab? What would your advice be to some of these guys?
I think the big thing is, man, don't be afraid to lean on your support group, whether that's family, friends, teammates, whoever that support is for you. Don't be afraid to lean on them. And then also, man, you got to attack rehab like it's a game day. And that's that was my thought process. So, it sucks to be hurt. But my big thing was I'm gonna do whatever I can in the rehab process to come back, better and stronger, faster than I was before. So those are two things. Don't be afraid to lean on your group, but also, man, you got to attack rehab.
All right, so not just in football, but in all levels of the game, the champions and the very, very good teams are decided by whoever can work the hardest, and not just during the season, but during the off season as well. So Jacob, leading this in you, what kind of activities and training do you do in the off season to get ready for football season?
I think it starts with the mental piece. A lot of people don't get how much the mental piece, like the mental aspect of football it is. You got people like Kyron Lacey, taking their own life, and that's sad to hear. But he was a big idol in a lot of people's lives, and you got to get your mental right before you go out there and play this sport. It's just a blessing to be here every day, each day with the coaches I got, the players I got. So I train and all that, but I make sure to keep the main thing. Without God and without all these people here, I wouldn't be where I am. So I start with my mental, and then I get all into the other things, because I know that without my mental, I can't do anything. Coach Macklin says it all the time: don't play the game emotionally, play it with emotion. So I keep my head focused, composed, and I go out there, lay my heart on the line, not only for me, but for my teammates and for God.
It's a great answer.
So Cooper, Kirkwood has had a lot of really good QBs in its history. The Nesledge brothers, Owen and Cannon, Cooper Wise, and Matt Crapful, is that you pronounce his name, back in your day? He had some great numbers, great seasons. Did you feel any pressure coming into this program with some of the great QB performances in previous years, or how was it coming into this program?
Like I said earlier, they welcomed me in very much. You know, we worked hard all over the summer to try and ease those nerves when you get into the game. I don't know, if you work like you play like you practice, or you practice like you play, I mean, I think it'll get easier through the games. So yeah, I think just practicing hard, practicing like it's a game, makes the games easier and not as stressful.
Coach, most NFL players, after they retire, go start their own business, go into sales, go into the finance sector. According to Business Insider, only 9% of NFL retirees go into coaching after they retire. What made you so quickly come back to Kirkwood and become a coach?
Well, it was easy for me. I had my little cousin that was here. I had a chance to come and coach him. So that was kind of a really big piece for me, especially, you know, I was going through some times where, you know, having retired, you know, trying to figure out, you know, kind of what the next move was. So, you know, I think that was big for me. But also, man, I feel like it's my purpose. I was always going to give back to my community. I just didn't know in what capacity. So to have the opportunity to be a head coach here at Kirkwood, it truly is a dream come true. And honestly, you know, I needed it more than it needed me. And I think, you know, that speaks volumes to kind of what this place means to me, but also, you know, the type of kids we got walking around in this building.
So for Cooper and Jacob, most of the fans here are aware of the performances of, you know, yourselves pretty much, and some of the other great pioneers such as Travis Shores Jr. and Colin Griffin. But who are some of the other guys on this team that most people don't really know that much about and key contributors? So Cooper, we'll start with you with that.
I mean, there's great players on both sides of the ball. We got Jameer, receiver, Bodie Mansfield, receiver, guys up front, all of them. Let's see, we got Will, Justice, Justin, Joe.
Joe, yeah. Jack, he a dog.
Jack.
He get us fired up after, man. He got a hot head.
Defense, we got Quinn, Randall, Anthony,
Kai.
Frank.
Hakeem, all our corners, Jordan, Cole, you know.
D'Anton plays a big role up front.
List goes on. Joey Goodman, you know, all those people. Who else? Nick Tucci. I can name all my teammates because, you know, it's 11 guys on the field at the end of the day. It's not just me and Cooper Owens, you know. We make those big passes, those big plays, you know. Jack Wolf got a block up front. All those guys, Joe, they all got a block up front. Starts with the play call. We got to get the signal in. Everybody got to run the routes for it to develop. You know, it's not a selfish game. You know, when you're running those routes, it got to be for everybody. Like everybody on the field, you got to let all the stuff develop, open up the space, and Cooper gonna find a window, and we just gonna let it happen. We gonna show him tonight. You know, we gonna show him I believe in my team always. You know, I'm going out here and it's my family. You know, they always welcome me in here. Coach Mack helped me so much, and I can shout out the whole team, the whole organization, the whole staff, everybody in Kirkwood, this Kirkwood community. Great, welcome me. I know they welcome Cooper, and Cooper like a brother, and I die for these people. So shout out to all of them, the whole Kirkwood team.
Yeah, and it's not even just players on the field, it's players on the sideline. After a drive, I go over to the quarterbacks. They all tell me what they see. That helps me, you know, see what the defense is giving me. I bet Jacob could say the same about other receivers that aren't playing. I mean, it's a group effort over here.
Love it. Coach, you love running empty backfield sets on offense. What are some of the advantages to that, and why do you like running it? How does it help your team? Kind of explain some of the X's and O's to some of our fans who don't really know why you choose to run that formation sometimes.
Well, I think first of all, I think sometimes people try to make football too complicated. At the end of the day, man, it's about getting your guys in space to be successful. So you know that's kind of the idea behind it. And each game it kind of, you know, varies depending on what the defense is able to show us and what we're able to kind of take advantage of. So you know, it's just, you know, when you get them in space, you know, and you're spaced out, is just, you know, less people you have to worry about. So I believe in our guys. I believe in our athletes. So that's kind of the mindset behind it.
Jacob, several schools desired to have your talents at the next level, but ultimately you chose to commit to the University of Illinois. What went into your decision to go with Coach Bielema and the Fighting Illini?
Like I said, the Kirkwood community had a big staple on my life and was a big part of my life, and has been a big part of other people in my family's lives. And being here, I just felt welcome, and I knew I was gonna succeed when I was up under Coach Mack. And not only that, Coach Manning, we got a bunch of D1 coaches who've been at the next level and who knows what the next level feels like. And going into the recruiting process, they believed in me. And when I felt like I was down and out, they stuck with me. And you know, like Illinois, not just because my dad went there, but they were the first big D1 school to offer me, and it was just such a blessing. And I felt the connection ever since I got there. The official visit, the talk on the phone, and I knew they believed in me from day one. So when I chose that school, it wasn't just because of my dad. It was because the coaching staff believed in me, the players, the recruits, they all believed in me, and they saw what I had. And my birthday was yesterday, and a handful of recruits who committed with me and people who haven't committed still told me happy birthday who I was on the official visit with. So that's why I chose Illinois, because it's really a family in the Alumni.
Well, happy late birthday to Mr. Jacob Eberhardt then. Congratulations. Well, that'll do it for our coach and player interview. Cooper, Coach, Jacob, thank you so much. We appreciate it. Good luck tonight, gentlemen.
Thank you guys very much. Good luck.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
We again appreciate them for coming out, taking some time out of their pregame preparation to come talk to us. Some amazing input from a couple great players. Well, 3 great players, really.
Yes.
1 former player. And
2 currently.
yeah, and just some great football minds that are talked to. I love talking to them. So let's shift some gears, talk about some of the exciting playoff games that we had this past weekend in Week 11, which in Missouri was the district semifinals week, and in Illinois was the Sweet 16/second round of the playoffs week. John, you were at an extremely exciting game on Friday night where the Ladue Rams had an incredible comeback. They were down 19-0 in the fourth quarter and came back to beat the Hazelwood East Spartans 21-19. Talk to us about that game.
One of the craziest games that I've ever seen, and one of the most improbable comebacks, if not the most improbable comeback that I've ever gotten to cover and be a part of. But yeah, so Ladue, they were losing 19-0. Hazelwood East scored with a little over 9 minutes to go in the game to go up 19-0. So it's a 3-score game, and obviously Ladue had been shut out up at that point, but they finally got it going offensively with a 63-yard touchdown pass from Jack Hensley to Evan Vi. And then the biggest play of the game, the big turning point, was a fumble recovery forced by Jacob Peoples, who's also a starting safety for the Rams on the ensuing kickoff. Then a few plays later at the 5-yard line, Evan Vi scored on a 5-yard touchdown. He, by the way, just got offered by Arizona State. He's got 71 offers now, so he had a great game there. And then Ladue got a stop on the next drive and got the ball back. And then on the 24-yard line, Hensley completed a touchdown pass. A really nice catch by senior Maddox Wolf. Put Ladue up 21-19, and then they held out for the next 2 possessions. And Ladue is now alive and playing Cardinal Ritter in the district championship game, improbably, honestly.
Should be very interesting. Another really crazy game we saw last weekend between two of the highest-ranked teams in Class 6. Lafayette defeats SLU in a thriller.
Yeah, that was a game where it was competitive the whole way. Lafayette had a 28-14 lead at halftime. Brady Misek had a really good game. We also had a very rare last week was an oddity week, but Torrance Bills had a pretty crazy interception where he returned it for a touchdown, a pick 6, but it was really a ref 6 where it hit off of the referee, who is in play, by the way, so that is a totally valid rule. Just a real tough break for the Junior Bills right there. It was probably the biggest play of the game, but they didn't. I'm sorry, different ways of talking to you guys live right now. But yes, they did not quit. SLU did not. Keenan Harris had a really good game. His last ever game for SLU, as you can see right there on screen. He had over 100, I think, close to 200 rushing yards of the game out of the Wildcat. Even though SLU lost, he really put the team on his back, and it was a very close game, really well-played game. Unfortunate that both teams had to see each other that early in the playoffs, but ultimately the Lancers came out on top with a 3-point victory and played great defense in the second half and have a huge game against CBC tonight.
Yep. So on last Friday night, I was fortunate enough to go to the St. Dominic-Troy game at beautiful Crusader Stadium, and that was a very physical and exciting game to watch. So I had not been able to watch St. Dominic before last week in person, and, man, they fired off the ball really well. They may not be the biggest team, but they fired off the ball really well, which is big because Troy is a really big physical team. And Troy ended up coming out with a victory 48-20 in this one. And, boy, Coach Brent Wiggers for Troy told us think a few weeks ago, he names his running back duo Thunder and Lightning, Carter Dowell and Chris Wenger, and man, that's a brutal combo. I mean, Carter Dowell runs like he's been playing in college for 3 or 4 years. I mean, the way that he keeps his feet going through contact is incredible. I think there were only, he ran the ball, 24 times that game? 23 times. He had 23 carries for 227 yards. And I think on maybe 3 of those 23 carries, it only took one guy to bring him down. So he's got the ball 20 times, and it takes 2 or more guys to bring him down. It's just absolutely ridiculous. And for St. Dominic, Brennan Shasheen made some incredible throws. I mean, the fact that he was able to dodge 20 sacks, it seemed like, was incredible. I mean, his pocket presence is amazing, doing a very good job of seeing his receivers downfield and fighting through pressure. And unfortunately for him, the Crusaders, their season ends after a 9-0 regular season. Just how SLU High gets unlucky matched up against Lafayette in the second round, an undefeated St. Dominic gets matched up against a really good Troy team second round. So congrats to the Troy Trojans for moving on. Next up, one of the teams that we will see tonight, actually, Eureka, defeated Rockwood Summit last week.
Yeah, in fact, a lot of the Wildcat players are just walking behind the scenes, but behind us to their locker room to get set up here. So, but they had a great 21-3 win over Summit. It's tough to beat a good team twice, and that's what they did this season, both by pretty decisive scores. The first time they beat Summit was 28-7, and Eureka's defense once again showed that they have one of the better defenses in the entire area. I mean, statistically speaking, and they easily have one of the best defenses in Class 5. And Zane Bowen has been a great player for them, leading the way. Noah McCollum is a great defensive end. 2 guys up front for the Wildcats there, and they had a big goal line stand early in the first half where if Summit scored, it would have made it 7-7, but they were able to defy them, keep it a 7-0 game. And Summit's only score the whole game was a 2-minute drill offensive drive where they got in the field goal range and had a pretty clutch field goal at the time. Really well done, but they could never find the end zone. And Eureka's running back Brandon Webb, he's been solid all season for them. He had a massive game for them too, with a couple of touchdown runs. And Patrick Hutchcraft, a quarterback, has just been real steady for them all season back there in the backfield with over 1,500 passing yards, and just calls a good game.
Another game last week, big rivalry matchup. Usually it's one of the more exciting games in the MCC, and it was definitely exciting last week. It wasn't that close, so I guess it was kind of close to be expected.
Yes, it was.
CBC defeats the Smet in an absolute shootout where the Spartans just refused to go away.
Yeah, there was a game where CBC actually led 21-0, so it looked like this was a game where they were going to blow DeSmet out of the water just like they did earlier in the season. But credit to the Spartans, they never stopped fighting, and I think that was the biggest margin. I think CBC never got to over 4 scores. It was a 2 to 3 score game the rest of the way. I think even DeSmet for one point in the game even got it down to a 1-score game. But yeah, Cam Sharp was great. He's a great sophomore running back. Gabe Rodriguez turned out to be a really good quarterback for the Spartans this season. Threw for over 2,700 passing yards, and he had a solid game as well. But DeSmet just could not stop the Cadets. High-powered offense, and that was the big difference in the game right there.
If I may cut in real quick, if you listen to our podcast, you know how high we are on CBC's offense this year. And, I mean, sometimes it's like, all right, we're going to keep saying the same things about CBC. We kind of do, because every single week they put up ridiculous numbers. I mean, we got Nick McClellan, the QB, with 20 carries for 188 yards. Courtney Rivers, 10 carries, 92 yards. And then Vic Williams, the running back, 10 carries, 113 yards. As a team, 393 rushing yards for 9.83 yards per carry. That'll win you the game almost every game, no matter who you're playing. If you're going to average 10 yards a carry, that's unbelievable. Vic Williams actually leads the St. Louis area in yards per carry. I think it's like 13 or so.
Yeah, and
it's a ridiculous number.
I don't think
outrageous number.
I'm not even sure he's. I don't know if he has over 100 yards. I don't know if he even has over 100 carries this season too.
Yeah, I think
good save.
I think both him and McClellan are at around 90 to 93 carries. We'll get to it later in the show.
I do know that he, out of all the top 10 running backs of rushing yards, and Vic Williams is one of them, he has the least amount of carries by far out of those. Out of those other 9 guys.
Yeah. Another very interesting game that happened on the Illinois side. To no one's surprise, East St. Louis rolls in the second round of the Illinois State playoffs as they defeat
Chatham-Glenwood,
formerly undefeated Chatham-Glenwood. And this one was a little bit close in the beginning. I believe Chatham-Glenwood actually took a 14-13 lead,
yes.
and then it was all Flyers from there.
Yeah, it was a game. I was a little surprised. I was surprised and not surprised that Glenwood made it a game in the first half because they're obviously really good. They have a high-powered offense, and that was for Springfield area standards, that was built up as a pretty special Glenwood team. But East St. Louis, they will destroy a lot of special teams throughout the southern bracket of Class 6 Illinois, just pretty much every year. So and it seems like they're reading our spreads too, because they always cover the spread too.
I said it a couple weeks ago. If you're chatting Glenwood, you gotta oh sweet 9-0, great regular season. All right, we're gonna get the 1 seed in the bottom side of our bracket, and we get to play St. Louis second round.
Yeah,
great.
And they had to sweat it out against Joliet Catholic, and they only beat them 17-12. And Joliet's a really good team too.
Very good team.
Yes.
Final game we'll go over from last week. The Live for Life Hawks dig themselves out of a hole they built for themselves in the first quarter as they defeat St. Genevieve. John, the Hawks were once down 21-0 in this game, and they rally back from.
They weren't the only team that had
miscues.
They weren't the only team that had to come back from a 3-score deficit, but it was they did it all in the first half, so they had a lot of time on their side, unlike Ladue there. But yeah, Phoenix Isaiah had an incredible game. Did he have over 400 passing yards? Is that right? If I remember correctly.
Yes.
Yes, he did.
Yep.
So, and he's only a junior, so he's had a fantastic season for the Hawks there. But yeah, crazy game. Got back. I think they led. They actually came all the way back and led at halftime, and then
they were down. Live for Life was down 21-0 at the end of the first quarter, and then at halftime they were up 34-28.
Yeah, so a drastic swing in their favor there. And then another oddity of the weekend, St. Genevieve had 2 fumble recoveries for touchdowns. They had 2 scoop and scores, which you'll see one of those every so often, but twice in a game, that's pretty rare.
Twice in a game on back-to-back drives, and those were their only scores in the second half. So
Yeah.
after that 21-0 deficit, Live for Life allowed 1 more touchdown to the Dragons offense in the second quarter, and then that was the rest of the game. So even though they had a little bit of a rough start, Live for Life got it straight pretty quickly and were able to figure it out from there, and they are back in the district championship round. Got a tough one this week, though, but we will get to that in a bit. So next up, tonight at Lion Stadium, 2 of the best programs in the whole area will go toe-to-toe for a district crown. Surprisingly enough, this is actually, I believe, the 12th time these 2 teams have played, and the first time
Correct.
they ever played was in 2015.
As far as we know, as far as our knowledge goes, yes.
Which our knowledge is mostly, well, I guess not limited, but our recent knowledge is limited, whatever is on Estville High School Sports or their schedules. Any detailed schedules before the year 2000 is kind of hard to find, because then you have to go to individual schools and kind of.
Newspapers.com is also probably the second best way to, actually probably the best way to verify, and I didn't find much there.
Yes. So, first time these 2 teams matched up was in 2015. This is an incredible game. So Kirkwood won the game in comeback fashion, 28-21. And this was the Class 6 District 1 championship game. And this was back when Class 6 only had 32 teams. They only had 4 districts. So even though it was a district championship game, it was also a quarterfinal game for the state. So the winner of this game would have gone on to the Class 6 semifinals. And this is actually a tie game, 7-7, going into the fourth quarter. And then Eureka scored pretty quick to take a 14-7 lead. And then on Kirkwood's very next play from scrimmage, after going down 14-7, Pioneer QB Reese Goddard connected with receiver Taj Telfair, who made an insane run after the catch for an 84-yard touchdown to tie the game.
And during the following drive for Eureka, junior linebacker Ivan Barnett strip-sacked Eureka's that's not right. And then, but anyway, he recovered. Ivan Barnett, he was on Kirkwood. I remember covering him the first year doing GSV. So he was the linebacker for Kirkwood. He strip-sacked Eureka quarterback Michael Orso, and Barnett was able to recover the fumble and carry it into the end zone for the go-ahead touchdown.
So down 21-14, Eureka gets the ball back, and they're forced to punt. So starting at their own, I believe it was their 1-yard line? Yeah, their own 1-yard line.
That's correct.
Kirkwood running back Jamal Scott rips off a 91-yard run on second down to get it all the way to the Eureka 3-yard line. And that was actually Scott's second rush of the day for 80 or more yards.
Following that, Tyreek Lewis ran it in for the Pioneers shortly after the Jamal Scott run to make it 28-14. And the Wildcats were able to get within a score with 6:23 left to play, but the Kirkwood defense stepped up when they needed to and secured a 28-21 victory for the Pioneers, sending them to the Class 6 semifinals, Final Four.
So this was an especially emotional game for Kirkwood head coach Farrell Shelton, who had spent the previous 15 seasons as Eureka's head coach, and the 10 years before that on the staff, and he also graduated from Eureka. So in his first year as head coach for Kirkwood, in his first time in 25 years away from Eureka, he matches up against his former Wildcats in the Class 6 district finals, and him and his Pioneers break the hearts of his alma mater, and it was a stunning game.
Yeah. And then next year, the Pioneers won their second ever state championship. Next, we jumped ahead to the 2021 regular season finale in Week 9, where the Pioneers and Wildcats gave us a thrilling overtime classic. Kevin Emanuel, who was a junior at the time for Eureka, started out the game hot with 2 rushing touchdowns, and he made it 14-0 at the end of the first quarter.
So Kirkwood stayed disciplined, and after a nice drive down the field led by QB Lewis Kavanaugh, the Pioneers were able to get on the board with a Darius Jones 1-yard touchdown to cut the lead in half, 14-7.
After halftime, Eureka came out firing with a third Emanuel touchdown and a safety shortly thereafter, which pushed the score to 23-7 in favor of the Wildcats.
Be prepared to hear the name Kevin Emanuel more in the next few minutes. Just going to give you a warning. So yet again, the Pioneers fought back from the deficit, and Kirkwood receiver Tyler Macon had a career day with his biggest catches coming in the second half. Kavanaugh and Macon connected for 2 scores, one being a 75-yarder on a dig route in the third quarter, and the other being a 45-yarder on a post route. Both touchdowns were followed by Darius Jones' 2-point conversions, which tied the game at 23.
Eureka was able to get downfield the next time, but missed a field goal that kept the game knotted at 23. Emanuel also wasn't able to corral a throwback pass out of the backfield that would have been a touchdown late in the game, but none availed. We go to overtime.
We get to overtime, and Kirkwood gets the ball first to start, and Lewis Kavanaugh was able to scramble out to the right side and found the end zone to put the Pioneers up 30-23. And then on Eureka's very first offensive play, Kevin Emanuel goes right up the gut for a 25-yard touchdown, which was his 4th score of the game.
Eureka, despite being the home team, then decided to go for 2 and the win, but Kirkwood was able to step up and stop Emanuel when it mattered most. The Pioneer defensive line was able to stuff Emanuel well short of the end zone, and Kirkwood won the game in exciting fashion, 30-29, as they stormed the field in victory.
We got the replay up right here, and the Emanuel touchdown was right there. And as you can see, this is the 2-point conversion right here. And they're going to try and hand it off to Emanuel to the, Eureka's left side, and Kirkwood just fills really well. The D-line gets through, makes a stop, ends the game. Tough way to end it for Eureka. I mean, that's always an age-old debate of, oh, okay, you're down by 1 in overtime. Do you go for 2 for the win? Do you go for the PAT to tie? What do you do? Kind of depends on how the momentum is going, but either way, Kirkwood comes out on top on this one. But Eureka fans, don't worry, because the next year in 2022, the Wildcats got their revenge. Down 17-7 at halftime, Eureka came out of the break with a methodical drive down the field capped off by, you guessed it, a Kevin Emanuel touchdown, which was his 2nd touchdown of the game to make the score 17-14.
Kirkwood running back Deion Brown got into the end zone for the 2nd time to answer the Wildcats with a 1-yard run after a long Pioneer drive. And after the extra point, Kirkwood extended their lead to 24-14.
But Kevin Emanuel could not be stopped that Friday night. The very next drive, Eureka got down to the goal line, and Emanuel punched in for his 3rd score of the game to make the score 24-17. After a quick stop at the end of the third quarter by the Wildcat defense, Emanuel scored his 4th touchdown of the game. Yes, 4. So 2nd year in a row where he's got 4 or more touchdowns in one game against Kirkwood. He got that 4th touchdown with 11 minutes to go in the 4th quarter, and the Wildcats took the lead for the first time all night, 28-24.
But fortunately for Kirkwood, they would respond. They drive down the field, converted a 4th and 2 at the Eureka 3-yard line, and then scored on an Amar Hopkins 1-yard rushing touchdown to retake the lead 30-28. But after a mixed extra point, the doors stayed open for Wildcats to strike again.
So with 7 minutes to go, the Wildcats got the ball back, and, fair plan. They let Kevin Emanuel go back to work and drive down the field. After a clutch 4th down conversion, Eureka was able to chew up a ton of clock and get the ball down to the Kirkwood 10-yard line with 1:58 left to go in the 4th quarter. On 4th down, Eureka false started. They were attempting the field goal, but now that field goal gets driven back 5 yards.
So the ensuing 32-yard field goal attempt was blocked by the Pioneers. Kirkwood took over possession with up 2 points with less than 2 minutes left, but after a 3-and-out and a shanked punt, the Wildcats were still alive with fresh hope. Eureka was able to get the ball down to the Kirkwood 26-yard line and spike the ball with 4.9 seconds remaining.
This is it for all the marbles. You're down by 1, 4 seconds left. If you miss it, you lose. If you make it, you win. It's do or die. Eureka kicker Bryce Clark steps up, drills the kick, and the Wildcats walk it off for one of the most exciting games in their school's history.
And it's one of the most exciting games that we've ever covered as well. So in 2023 and 2024, both games between the teams finished with a final score of 14-10, with Kirkwood winning in 2023 and Eureka winning last year in 2024. Earlier this season in Week 5, Kirkwood won 24-21 thanks to some Travis Shores Jr. heroics and an incredible fourth-quarter effort by the Pioneer defense.
If we can get a game half as exciting as the games we've got between these two teams tonight, we're in for a great night.
It would almost be an upset that it's not a down-to-the-wire football game the way these two teams have played over the last about 5 years or so.
And we'll get deeper into this game later in the show. But a lot to talk about tonight, especially about Kirkwood High School itself. So, founded in 1896, as you get a view of Lions Stadium above our heads over there. Some of the fans coming in early. You got Kirkwood coming onto the field to warm up.
Mm-hmm.
We got about an hour and 20 minutes till kickoff here in Kirkwood. Plenty of time to, get ready for pregame. So founded in 1896, Kirkwood High School is one of the most storied and well-known high schools in the St. Louis area. Many Pioneer alumni have gone on to make significant impacts, not just in St. Louis, but across the whole country. So an alumni that you all just saw a little bit earlier, Jeremy Macklin, the current head football coach of the Pioneers, was one of the most electrifying players in Kirkwood history and Missouri Tigers history. After catching 128 passes for 2,559 yards in high school, he decided to stay home and play for Mizzou. His freshman season was one of the best seasons by any freshman in college football history. He holds the NCAA freshman record for most all-purpose yards in a season, where in Mizzou's magical 2007 season, Macklin totaled 2,776 all-purpose yards as he was an elite wide receiver, kick returner, and punt returner. The next season, in 2008, Macklin totaled 2,833 all-purpose yards, which led the nation. In college, he was a two-time consensus Big 12 first-teamer and two-time consensus All-American first-teamer. And Macklin was drafted in the 19th round, 19th overall. Wow, there are not 19 rounds in the NFL draft.
No.
He was drafted in the 19th overall by the Eagles in the 2009 NFL draft. And he was really one of the most consistent producers at the receiver position in the NFL during the next 5-6 years. So in his 5 full seasons with the Eagles, he totaled 4,771 receiving yards, 36 receiving touchdowns. That was from 2009 to 2014. And I referenced it earlier when asking him about his injury. So after tearing his ACL and missing the entire 2013 season, Macklin came back the next season in 2014 to have the best season of his career with 85 catches for 1,318 receiving yards and 10 touchdowns. And this is enough to get him into the Pro Bowl, and he actually got second place in the 2014 NFL Comeback Player of the Year award. After a few more solid seasons with the Chiefs and Ravens, Macklin retired in 2019. And right after that, he came back to coach his cousin, where he was an assistant on the staff here for a bit. And now he's the head coach.
Yep, and we're not going to be short of any Freudian slips for the rest of the show, I guarantee you that. So next up for Kirkwood is Scott Bakula, a former sci-fi television star. Bakula graduated from Kirkwood High School in 1973. Moving to New York City to further his career in show business, Bakula eventually found himself the lead role in the sci-fi TV show Quantum Leap. Bakula played Dr. Samuel Beckett, a role that got Bakula nominated for 4 Primetime Emmy Awards and 3 Golden Globe Awards, winning the Golden Globe for the Best Actor in a Drama Television Series in 1991.
Speaking of the Golden Globes, the host of this year's Golden Globe Awards was Nikki Glazer, a Kirkwood alum herself. So Glazer has been a stand-up comedian since 2002, making appearances on The Tonight Show with Jay Leno, Conan, 2 Netflix stand-up specials, and The Roast of Tom Brady. Glazer has also made several appearances on Dancing with the Stars, The Masked Singer, Celebrity Family Feud, and other very popular television shows.
Next up is Michael Pruitt. Heading back over to the gridiron, Pruitt is next in our alumni spotlight. An all-conference defensive end and tight end football player for Kirkwood, Pruitt was also a member of the 2009 basketball district championship team and qualified for the state championships in discus throw in track and field. After graduating from Kirkwood, Pruitt went on to play football at Southern Illinois, where he was named an FCS All-American his junior and senior seasons. He finished his college career as the Missouri Valley Conference career record holder for receptions, receiving yards, and receiving touchdowns for tight ends. Pruitt was selected by the Minnesota Vikings in the 5th round of the 2015 NFL Draft. In his 10-year NFL career, Pruitt totaled 77 catches for 788 yards and 13 touchdowns.
Shifting back over to the fine arts, 6-time Grammy-winning saxophonist David Sanborn graduated from Kirkwood in 1963. After recovering from polio and being temporarily confined to an iron lung as a child, Sanborn studied music at Kirkwood and Northwestern and became one of the best blues and jazz saxophone players in the world. Sanborn was a session musician for many bands and musicians such as Stevie Wonder, Bruce Springsteen, Aretha Franklin, Sting, the Eagles, James Brown, Elton John, and the Rolling Stones. In 2004, Sanborn was inducted into the St. Louis Walk of Fame, as you see him here on the screen playing the saxophone.
The last former Pioneer we'll highlight in the alumni spotlight is current BYU head football coach Kalani Shitake. Born in Tonga, his family immigrated to Hawaii when he was a child, and later he attended high school here at Kirkwood. Under Coach Dale Collier, Shitake was an all-state running back as a Pioneer, winning district and sectional titles in the early 1990s. Shitake was a fullback and team captain when he played at BYU from 1997 to 2000. Working his way up to the coaching ranks at schools throughout the western United States, Shitake held the defensive coordinator post at Oregon State University and the University of Utah. Shitake has been the head coach at BYU since 2015, leading the Cougars to an overall record of 80-44.
So, as you can see, many Pioneer alumni have gone on to make significant positive impacts in the sports, fine arts, and other fields. Now, I should have stood up later, but who cares? You all can see me. It's not a big deal.
We'll roll with it.
We'll roll with it. Let's break down some of the things that you will see tonight on the field behind us in the first segment of our GSV Coaches Corner. I'm going to do my best to hold the microphone and the marker in different hands, and I guess read my script from the ground. First time doing this, so we're kind of just attacking it on the fly. We did plan it out somewhat, but, you know, lots to take care of here.
We'll make do with it.
So, the highlights we're going to show you here for Eureka real quick. So I searched all over for good Eureka game film from this year, but I don't know if this is intentional. It probably is. Eureka made it very difficult for someone not in their program to find film of their games this year. So the best film I could find of Eureka was actually from 2 years ago when they played Rockwood Summit. And that was some of the cleanest footage I can find. That was on Huddle on their public profile page. So fortunately, Eureka's offense hasn't really changed that much since then. They still run some of the basic run concepts. So let's get into breaking down some of Eureka's film. First up, we're going to call this play heavy right 35 power. So Eureka lines up here with, yep, on the screen right there, heavy right 35 power. So this is actually an 82-yard touchdown play. A lot of this came because of great offensive line blocking, and it all starts up front. So you're going to see the left side offensive lineman block down onto the nose guard to clear the way for the pulling guard and the H-back. So as you'll see, this play is called power, and power really just means whenever this guard, or either guard, pulls around and blocks, usually it's a defensive end right here. So in that look, Rockwood Summit had a 4-2-5. They really weren't aligned that well, but that's for a different discussion. Rockwood Summit was a little too heavy to the strength, I would say, on the offense, because they committed both linebackers right here over the middle. They had one safety high up here, corners here, outside backers here, and so Eureka's run out of the pistol. 10, who else do they have? They had a receiver out. No, yeah, tight end right here. That's what it was. So they run power. The goal here of what Eureka is trying to do, block down here with the tackle, block down here with the guard, center blocks down. This guard is going to pull around and block the defensive end, and this H-back is going to come right behind him and fill right here to this middle backer. So it's very simple handoff right here to the 5 gap. That's why it's called 35, because the running back, usually it's called the 3 back in most offenses, goes out to the 5 hole, coming right up here. This tackle right here also blocks down. This tight end kind of releases. So the biggest thing here with Rockwood Summit, and why they weren't really able to stop it is because this middle backer kind of came up somewhat reluctantly right here, or I should say right here. Didn't fill very well, didn't attack his gap, and the safety also took kind of a poor angle, which let the running back kind of just run free the entire time. And this is the I wouldn't say disadvantage, but this is what's tough playing against Eureka, is because if you do line up your defense heavy to the strength, they're going to just run away from it and burn you. Is the music too loud in the stadium? Are we good? We're good? All right. So, what Eureka will also do, let me try and erase this and reset. So, you may think, oh, okay, if Eureka is just going to run power away from this H-back, they're going to bring this H-back over to the opposite side, run power away from him. We could just line up heavy towards the other side, right? Wrong. Because a lot of times Eureka will just run power to the other side, where they will have blocked down on the defensive end here. This guard blocks the D tackle, center releases. This guard pulls the other way through the hole, and the H-back is the lead blocker first. So the H-back comes through here. This would be the 4 hole. H-back comes through, then the guard comes through right behind him, and it's power to the other side. So just because they line up heavy to one side doesn't mean you can cheat defensively and line up to the other side, because they can run it either direction. And we've seen a lot of this from Eureka this year as well. I mean, Coach Sumner's generally had, and it's interesting, when I was watching some of the Eureka film, I was honestly having kind of a hard time deciding what to call some of their formations, because they'll have some other formations, like I know later in the game, I wanted to call it a tray formation because they had 2 receivers out here, but instead of a tight end in a conventional tray formation, they had an H and no tight end. So I kind of just called it tray because, close enough. Receiver out here. And again, they can run power to either side here. They can motion this. Oh, yeah, here we go. Right here, tray right, 35 power. So for whatever reason, I don't know why Summit did this on this play. Again, Summit's alignment was kind of shoddy. I don't know where their safety was there. I think they were just playing straight cover 0, which can work sometimes, but if you're going to show 0 and just have no safety up top, you're putting a lot of trust in your backers to stop that, and that's going to be tough to do against Eureka, because Eureka's offensive line, I mean, we talk about, a lot of times when me and John are in the offseason talking about returning starters, one of the biggest things we talk about every year is Eureka's offensive line. And I don't know what they're feeding those boys down there in Eureka, but they get some big kids in there every single year with great strength, great speed, and great blocking ability. So tonight, when you're watching the Eureka Kirkwood game, be ready to see a lot of pulling guards, a lot of lead blocking from the H-backs. But Patrick Hutchcraft, their QB, also has a really good deep ball as well. So they will be able to get the ball downfield, and they also will catch you on your heels sometimes with some screen plays. So what they'll do is they'll fake a pass block here with these offensive linemen, and then all these linemen will release downfield to block these linebackers. And the running back releases, quarterback throws out to him, and that's one of their usual, chunk plays where they'll get 20, 25 yards on it if the defense isn't ready. So, heading over to Kirkwood's side of the ball. Kirkwood, very different style of offense here. So they do pull their guards sometimes in the running game, but they are a pass-first team. If you just look at their basic stats, just go to their SU High School sports page, look at their team stats. You just look at their passing yards versus their rushing yards, they are definitely a pass-first team, which makes sense. I mean, a lot of their best athletes are wide receivers, and as Coach Macklin said earlier in the show, their whole goal is to just get these guys out in space. So we're showing you film right here from their second-round matchup against Rolla, the team they played last week. Kirkwood won the game 35-0. And I asked Coach Macklin about the empty formation. And what the empty formation is you got your offensive line right here, your quarterback, X receiver out wide, you got your backside slot receiver here, you got your play side slot receiver, we'll call the right side of the field the wide side of the field here. You got your Y receiver and your Z receiver. So Rollo was kind of running a basic 4-2-5. And, Rollo knew what was coming. Rollo was a decent team this year. And they tried their best to stop Kirkwood, but they kind of had a hard time. So, Rollo's got basic 4-down linemen, 2 linebackers in the B gaps. Corner here, corner there, shaded about 5 yards off the ball. 2 deep safeties, and then their nickelback would usually just go to the strength. And so the first play we showed for you for Kirkwood was kind of their verticals play, really. It's not a true 4 verticals because they only had 3 guys run deep routes, but what's lethal about it is the double post concept. So first, this X receiver just runs a fade route, take out this corner. This backside slot receiver runs a 7-yard out route, pass protection up here. This front side slot receiver runs a post route, so he goes about 12 yards and then cuts upfield towards the field goal posts. The Y receiver runs what we call a skinny post, where it's a post, but it's at a shallower angle, kind of up here this direction. And then this Z receiver ran about a 12-yard curl route right here. So in this play, it looked like Rollo was trying to run cover 4, but their strong safety didn't do his job. And there's nothing against him. And this Kirkwood offense is extremely hard to stop, and it's extremely hard to recognize defensively what they're doing. So in this look, what Rollo was supposed to be doing is what we call cover 4. And cover 4 is when you have 4 guys deep in the field. So usually that means this corner has a deep fourth, this corner has a deep fourth, this safety has a deep fourth, and this safety has a deep fourth. That's why it's called cover 4. You got 4 guys deep on the field. And then you'll have this backside backer come over here and get these flats. You'll have the play side backer come here and get a mid-read zone right here. And then you'll have the nickel back at the flats right here. So what makes this play so lethal is, so this slot receiver runs his post route right here. If this strong safety right here bites, it's all over. Because even though it looks like this slot receiver is coming into his zone, he's running straight to his quarter, he's cutting off and going towards the other zone. So the strong side safety bites on the front route, and then the Y receiver with the skinny post is wide open. And even though it's not open initially, Cooper Owens was able to see the safety take one wrong step, and it was all over. And he finds, I believe that was Travis Shores Jr. on the touchdown. Beautiful play for Kirkwood. I mean, this is executed perfectly. The first read is going to be that double post. I mean, the double post, this is your big play. I mean, you see a team that's struggling to hold their zone, struggling to stay disciplined in their zones. This is where you know you're going to get them. And, if these safeties do stay disciplined, and if this safety does stay back here waiting for the other post, then Owens would have looked for the flats over here to see if the linebackers weren't doing their job. But this concept, I believe, is a great kind of microcosm to show how Eureka is so dangerous in their passing game. Because, okay, they got 3 guys going deep. What are the best options? Okay, probably cover 4. Okay, now for cover 4, your safeties have to stay disciplined. If this safety bites, it is over. Because Cooper Owens is reading that safety first. If this safety steps up, he's throwing it right over his head to where this corner is nowhere to be found. This corner is over here blocking or covering this quarter of the field. This safety is too far away. This guy is wide open. And the tough part is, if you look at the whiteboard here, even if the safeties do keep their zones steady here and keep good zone discipline, this post is still open right behind this linebacker's mid-read zone if Owens makes a well-timed and accurate throw. So with the speed Kirkwood has, with the QB they have, and the pass concepts, it's a handful for defenses. And they've been lighting up the stat sheet all season long. Cooper Owens leads the area on passing yards per game. They don't really have any receivers putting up massive cumulative numbers because they have several guys that they can rely on to make big plays during the game. So we will briefly go over some of Kirkwood's run game, and they actually have running concepts very similar to Eureka, but it's out of a slightly different formation. So Kirkwood also likes to pull their guards. Kirkwood has some decent speed on the offensive line, And Colin Griffin's a pretty solid running back who's pretty good on his feet, got really good balance, really good at getting some yards after contact. This is where I wish I had one of those, ESPN, screens that, ESPN screens that I could just press clear and then it all goes away and then I can go to a new formation. But, here we are making do with what we got. Me personally, if I'm going up against Kirkwood and I know and I see them in empty and I know they're going to, it's 3rd and long, 2nd and long, even 1st and 10, they like throwing those concepts. I probably go cover 4 and I tell my middle linebacker to watch behind his head for the post route coming right behind him. But again, you don't want to tell your middle linebacker just to bail out because then if your D line breaks down and Cooper Owens gets free, that's a free 20 yards. So a little bit of a messy whiteboard here, but I think you guys get it. So and Eureka kind of runs a hybrid defense, I would say. So they usually run a 4-2-5 or a 3-3 look, where they'll have the strong side of the defensive line as 3 down linemen, and then they'll have an outside backer kind of right here at a outside shade of the tackle. So they got their down linemen, their linebackers here, corner, and then Kirkwood's going to have Colin Griffin here, and then an H-back right here. Kirkwood's going to run power very similar to what Eureka does. So, so right here we got base. We're going to call this base right 35 power. I call it 35 again because it's the 3-back going through the 5-hole. It's a very similar running concept to what Eureka just did, but in a slightly different formation. So you're going to see this right guard pulling around, and these two, the play side linemen, the left tackle and left guard, block down on the D tackle and the linebackers. This guard pulls around and gets the defensive end. H-back comes through as a lead blocker. Colin Griffin gets through for a nice game and almost gets into the end zone on this play, actually. He's able to stay on his feet really well. So when we look at power for Kirkwood and Eureka, the entire key to this play is your play side offensive linemen have to get a good push off the ball. And I'll try and explain it here on the whiteboard, because if your play side offensive lineman cannot get a good push and a good lane for your puller to come through, the play is over. And so this is what I tell a lot of the offensive linemen I coach, is that if you're a pulling guard and you're coming down the line this way, usually we tell our guards to come straight down the line right here, because the DN should meet him right here. We make a block right there. If you're running in a straight line and you hit one of your 2 own linemen, it is their fault. Your own linemen have to get out. They have to block down. They have to clear out space for you and the other lead blocker to pull through. And one of the biggest things here that Eureka's D-line has been very good at is stuffing this initial push. So if you get another thing that we tell our defensive linemen is that if you get double teamed and you stalemate, that's a win. Because what Eureka will do, or what both teams will do, is they will double team this defensive tackle right here to clear him out so there's room for this guard to pull around. If this defensive tackle can take the double team and just stand there and not give up any ground and make it really complicated and give a tough lane for this backside puller to come through, even if it delays that puller for a half second, that blows the entire play up, because that gives the middle backers and safeties plenty of time to recognize what's going on, fill here, stuff the play. So biggest things to watch for on the offensive and defensive lines is on power, look at the play side guard and tackle. Do they get clean down blocks? Can they clear out that play side defensive line? If they can and give a great lane to the puller, the H-back, their lead blockers, that's almost guaranteed to be a great run, unless the outside backer sneaks around the outside and makes an ankle tap tackle or something. So I know there's a lot to break down, but you're going to see a lot of power, especially from Eureka, but some from Kirkwood as well. And then from Kirkwood, expect those deep routes, but also expect some mesh concepts, especially short routes over the middle. They're really good at finding weak spots in the zone coverage. And I mean, shoot, if you dare play man against Kirkwood, then good luck. That's going to be very difficult to pull off. You're going to need some elite athletes to do that. And, well, I think that'll do it for Coach's Corner. John, do you have any points or questions?
You have talked a lot, and that was pretty impressive. And taking us all the way through that, you have done a lot to prepare for that particular segment. So I just wanted to give you a quick little hand for that right there. That was impressive.
Oh, that's nothing. That's just talking ball. That's what we do.
Yeah.
That's what we do. We educate the fans of knowing football, because we talk a lot in our podcast about these are the, get my marker capped real quick, like these are the stats in this past week. Vic Williams is averaging 20 yards a carry.
That's easy.
Just saying stats off a screen is really easy. You don't really need to know much to do that. But the X's and O's are what makes football so fascinating. And football is the ultimate team sport. I mean, you look at other sports like basketball, baseball. Yes, they require a great team to win championships, but none of those sports require 11 different guys on both sides of the ball to do their job specifically. You never see, I mean, what could possibly be a more different job between the right guard and an X receiver? I mean, they're doing on a pass play where it's going to the X receiver, I should say. They got very different plays. On a run play, it's similar because they both got a block, but the X's and O's where it's fun, and we look forward to future segments or future shows where we can look at different teams, different offenses, because Eureka's, I mentioned it earlier, but Eureka's offense is very interesting because they like running out of the pistol a lot. And the pistol, I should have mentioned this earlier, the pistol is where the QB is in the shotgun formation. Usually is about 4 or 5 yards off the ball sometimes, and the running back is lined up directly behind him. So in a lot of spread offenses, you'll see the quarterback and then the running back to his left or right side, but the pistol specifically is when the running back is directly behind him. And Eureka will usually keep the running back right there, and they'll usually switch up which side they put their tight ends and H-backs on, kind of see what kind of alignment the defense gives them. Because, again, if you cheat with your alignment defensively and flood too many guys to one side, they'll just run power the other way, and you're cooked. Mm-hmm. But this is going to be a very, very fun game to watch. I'm very, very intrigued to see how these coordinators attack this game on both sides of the ball. But it is going to be a ton of fun.
Two teams, two coordinators who know a lot about each other as well. So it's going to be interesting how they mix or don't mix things up too. So it's that's why we're here. That's why a lot of people are going to be here for this game, which starts in now less than an hour.
May the best team win. Mm-hmm. Now, let's get into our Week 12 preview and our game picks. All right. Going on right down the street, actually. I shouldn't have just down the street, right across the what road is Vianney on? It's right across town in Kirkwood.
Right across, Lindbergh Boulevard.
Yeah.
Yes.
So about, what would you say, a 10-minute drive from where we're at right now?
I would get less than 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It feels like 2016 all over again. We got
seriously.
not quite. Where both teams
yeah.
won state, but you got two district championships going on the same night in Kirkwood.
When has that? We need to do research on that. When have two teams from the same
city
night both won the state championship? We'll figure that out for y'all next time because that was in 2016 when Vianney and Kirkwood won state.
I know when
both schools located in Kirkwood, Missouri.
I think the only time ever when two teams in the same town played each other was Ladue and MICDS.
Okay, well, I knew you were going to say that, but I was wondering when there were times that two teams played in one state. But anyway, speaking of Vianney.
Don't rule out Vianney. Don't rule out Vianney for Class 4.
Sullivan at Vianney. This is for the Class 4 District 2 Championship. Sam Dean's been having a great season for the Griffins. And Sullivan is a solid team, but I don't think they've faced a team like Vianney yet. Vianney, 4-6 record, but every single year, Vianney always has one of the most difficult schedules in the state. They play in the Metro Catholic Conference, so they're always going to be playing at least 3 other really good teams. And they always make a difficult out-of-conference schedule as well. And, I mean, Sullivan's a solid team, but I don't know if they've seen as much speed as Vianney has this whole season.
Well, and just the passing attack that Sam Dean has, he's an incredible quarterback, and he's got pretty good receivers. And then we mentioned earlier with Kyle Hogan, he's had a really quietly good season as well, over 1,000 rushing yards, and he's pretty fast as well. So I also, Vianney, how physical are they going to be? Because I think Sullivan, they run I think they run a triple option type offense. So Vianney's got to be physical, and they're going to have to step up. But like I said a few episodes ago, that Vianney did a pretty good job against Bevel West's run-heavy offensive scheme. I'm going to go with the Griffins in this one. And we knew before the season that they had a pretty good shot at winning a district championship, and here it is right there for them. But just a great job that Chris Starkey has done for the Griffins coming in, I believe, 2022, so I think this is his 4th season now. Really tough job at the time. I wouldn't say it was an impossible job, but Vianney had a long way to go in order to get to this point where they are right now. And yes, it works out that they're in Class 4 too. It's not like they got to be in Class 6 or Class 5. That's been a huge help.
Let's give them some credit here. This was,
Yes,
you say, oh, they won state twice in the past 10 years. It's like that their talent dropped off pretty quickly after that 2018 state title run.
Yeah.
And
now they've got pretty good talent now.
Yeah, and you may say, oh, well, they're a private school, it's easier for them. It's not easy. I promise you, even for MCC schools. I mean, you kind of, I want to compare it to, I'll compare, CBC to Georgia or DeSmet to Alabama. I don't want to make a direct comparison, but you look at those teams that recruit so well, it's not a guarantee. I mean, kids aren't just lining up at the door to come play. Like, you have to go out and get those kids. And Vianney's been doing a great job of getting not just good players, but good program kids to build their program around. They're going to work hard to be good young men and grow with each other and become brothers over their time at Vianney.
Right.
I'm also going to go with Vianney in this one, and this would be their first district title since their 2018 state championship season. So staying in Class 4, heading to the other side of the bracket, we got Orchard Farm at Parkway North. And this is a rematch of last year's Class 4 District 4 title. And Orchard Farm is looking to get revenge on the Vikings, and fortunately for them, Colin Sinclair is back for the Eagles. And the Eagles' defense shined against University City, but can they hang with this very physical Parkway North offensive line is the question.
I think they can. It's going to be Parkway North. They're fast and they're physical, and their defense is really good. Orchard Farm, I think, probably they're a little bit more polished offensively. Carlin Sinclair, he's a great dual threat quarterback, good passer, can run the ball too. He's all around a tough player to stop, and they have other good weapons around him. Patrick Ayers, Terrence Currier, two young receivers, by the way, as well, and they have a decent running game. Then the defense, they're led by Tyson Bronson, that's just an incredible name for a linebacker right there. I don't know about you.
If your name rhymes, you're going to be a good linebacker.
Yeah, it's pretty good. And so I think that they got key guys on both sides of the ball, but Parkway North on the other side, again, if you're going to go into the strength of schedule factor, they do have that advantage. Their one loss of the season was all the way in Week 1 against Lafayette. And ever since then, they've gotten some pretty good wins, most notably against Hazelwood East and Parkway West, 2 really close games there. And they are the winners of the Suburban Green Conference, and Orchard Farm, they're the winners of the GAC North.
Yep.
So we got 2 conference winners going up into this one tonight, and my pick is going to go with the Vikings at home. I think they'll repeat as district champions.
I'm going to go with Parkway North as well. This is tough, though. I think this is going to be a really close game. 2 great coaches going at it. I mean, Coach Chris Lindhoff for the Eagles, Coach Carl Odenwald for the Vikings. I love both these coaches. I remember back when I was doing the GEC football thing and I would go and do the preseason coach interviews, I would try to get to as many teams as I could before the season started. And I went to Orchard Farm, and this is when they were still at their old school. I think it was their second to last year at their old building and their old field. And it was a summer practice, and it was just Coach Lindhoff, and they had 30 guys out there. And,
Completely different now.
I know, they look different. And they weren't as talented back then, but they were working hard.
Yeah.
They were working hard, setting a good base for this program, and it's really paid off. I mean, the strides they have made the past 3 years have been absolutely incredible. To go from a mediocre team in the GAC North to, they got 10 wins this year, a really, really good team.
Back-to-back season of 10 wins, by the way.
I know, absolutely incredible stuff going on for Coach Lindhoff. And Coach Carl Odenwald, his first year at Parkway North was 2019, I believe.
Yeah, kind of a rough year.
So this is his 7th full season at Parkway North, I think. Am I doing the math right?
Yeah, I think you are right. Yeah, started in 2019. Yes.
Yeah. State quarterfinal appearance last year, almost beat the state champion Lutheran North in the quarterfinals. They got a tough team every year, man. And again, two very well coached teams. Coach Odenwald, friend of the show, shout out to him. doing a great job. Hope he's doing well. But, yeah, this should be a fun one, but I am going to go with the Vikings. Next up, speaking of Lutheran North, in Class 4, Lutheran North at St. Mary's. The winner of this one will play the winner of Orchard Farm at Parkway North. Jonathan Moore for Lutheran North did pretty much anything he wanted to in the air and on the ground against Gateway STEM last week in the Lutheran North 34-0 win over the Jaguars. And the Lutheran North defense held Gateway STEM to only 140 yards total in the entire game last week.
Yeah, and that's impressive. I mean, even though Gateway, they 9-0, but, again, didn't have the greatest schedule. But I think that's impressive.
9-0 is good. I want to give Gateway some credit. Gateway was a solid team, and I think Gateway just got unlucky.
Not taking anything away from them.
Gateway was a good team this year. They just got stuck in a bad district. I'm sorry. That's just about all I can say. They were a solid team, 9-0. Get some shout-outs from our fans here on site. But, yep.
Appreciate you guys. So, yeah, this is a pretty tough game to predict. Both teams, both coaching staffs know each other, and I think some players even transferred from either school to the other. So there's that interesting dynamic. And, these are two private schools who've done really good the last, probably, 6-7 years or so.
I mean, both teams have multiple state championships in the past decade.
That's correct.
So that's really impressive.
Yeah. So
both at different times, but these two teams have been mainstays of, Class 3, Class 4 playoffs in Missouri the past decade.
For sure. And I believe if St. Mary's were to win this game, I think they would go back into Class 5. I think they're in Class 4 based on their raw enrollment. So I don't think we have to worry about that.
They'd be in Class 2 because they're an all-boys Catholic school.
Yeah,
so I think they would be in Class 2 off raw enrollment.
Yes, that's where they are, and that's why they're in Class 4 because they are +8 in district points or championship factor
points. And I think you can only go up 2 classes at most. Right now, is that what it is?
I would like it if they could go if it could be unlimited.
That would really spice things up.
Because then
that would make it really interesting.
Cardinal Ritter would be in
Class 6.
Cardinal
Ritter
would
be in Class 6. Lutheran North would be in Class 5.
They would. It
would get very interesting very quickly.
Yeah.
But that's for a different point. I want to shout out Kingston Miles as well for the Dragons. He had an incredible game against Jennings, the running back. He had 18 carries for 178 yards, and they didn't list the touchdowns on the Estill High School Sports stat page, but I would assume he had at least 2 or 3. And Key Whitfield, Kingston Thomas. That was for Lutheran North, I should say.
Yeah.
St. Mary's defense did a really good job of making third down stops against Jennings. They still did allow a lot of air yards against Jennings, but that's a solid Jennings team, so I'm not going to hold that against them too much. But the St. Mary's defense clamped down whenever they needed to most, especially on third downs near the end of drives. So that was pretty huge for them last week.
Yeah, and we'll have a camera at this game too, as well as the Parkway North Orchard Farm game too. So be able to check those games out later. Next few days on GSV on YouTube. And yeah, I really like this Lutheran North team. I mean, both teams are battle tested too. I mean, that's probably going to happen when you're two private schools in the St. Louis area. And as far as my prediction for the game, I'm going to go with Lutheran North to come out on top. It really could go either way. I won't be surprised who wins. I'd actually probably be surprised if anybody blows out anybody, honestly. But I think we're going to get a lot of highlight reels in this game. Don't know from who exactly. I think Lutheran North is they're pretty experienced overall. I mean, I know they lost a lot of guys from last year just graduating and transferred, but they still got a good core of their big key players back this year, and so they know what it's going to take to, win a district championship and then winning the playoffs as well. And I think it starts with Jonathan Moore at quarterback, and then trickles down to running backs like Martez Stevenson and Michael Clark and Kyron Evans and so on and so forth.
This should be a very fun game. I'm going to go with the Dragons. But I expect a very close game, very hard-fought game. Next up, heading over to the GAC against the Suburban Conference in the Class 5 District 4 championship game. We got Parkway West at Zumwalt North. Zumwalt North is looking for its 9th district title in the last 12 seasons. Cam Sherman's back for the Panthers. Him, Philip Arpasi, and Jaden Burleson have all rushed for over 500 yards this season. The Panthers are going to come out and try and run the ball right down the Longhorn front seven.
Yeah, they're good. Pretty short to the point right there. Yeah, this is a Parkway West team. Two teams really who have different styles of attack, much like the game we're at tonight between Eureka and Kirkwood. Parkway West, they're going to air it out. Their quarterback is Brett Ottensmeyer. He's committed to Missouri State, and his stats have really lived up.
6-2 Missouri State. Are they 6-3 now?
I don't know. You would know.
6-win Missouri State Bears.
That's good.
There
really
we go,
good.
Bears. Nice job. First year in the FBS, got 6 wins. That's awesome. Come on, Bears.
Love to see it.
Love to see it.
Yeah, Ottensmeyer, he's got 33 passing touchdowns and 10 interceptions. They love to throw the ball. And Leighton Usery, he has over 1,100 receiving yards on the season. Max Hurley, he's another pretty good receiver. He's got, I believe, over 800 receiving yards. And then Max Jones, he's a really good sophomore receiver. He's 6'5". He's getting some D1 entrance already. So they got multiple, at least 3 good receivers there too. And then they had a good game running the football with Deshaun Horskins and Irvin, their 2 running backs there. So, but this might be the toughest team they've faced all season in Zumwalt North, to be honest with you, Roman.
It is.
Yeah, West. I mean, they've played some good teams, but I don't think not to the caliber that Zumwalt North has been. And North, they've had a decent schedule as well. I wouldn't say both teams are overly battle tested, but 2 competitive Class 5 large schools in this game. I really like Zumwalt North's rushing attack, and then, but mostly their defense. They're going to be able to fly to the football, and they have athletes that can stay with West's athletes in the secondary. And for me, that's going to be the difference in the game. And West, they got to step up and prove that they can slow down North's rushing attack as well.
The question is, can Parkway West's linebackers hang with FZN's physicality? We'll see. I'm going to go with the Panthers to win pretty comfortably here. And
I think a fair question is, can Zumwalt North's secondary stay with West's receivers, which that's not going to be easy. But, yeah, I'm going to have to go with the Panthers in this one by a few scores as well.
Well, the winner of that game will play the winner of this game, Ladue at Cardinal Ritter. Ladue, as we mentioned earlier in the show, is coming off a crazy comeback win, and they're going to have to use all the momentum they can. And Evan Vai is an elite athlete and can do some pretty serious damage when he finds space as a runner, receiver, or as a returner.
Mm-hmm. And as a quarterback, too, in the Wildcat.
Yep.
He had that big touchdown run against MICDS that we saw. So, yeah, this is a Ladue team that's actually got a lot of talent, and they got multiple D1 prospects on their team. They just haven't been able to figure it out really offensively all season consistently, and that might be what comes back to bite them, because this is a very talented Cardinal Ritter team from top to bottom.
Hey, do any of you 4 want to play a trivia game real quick for a chance to win a prize? You want to come up here? You can win a free T-shirt and a $50 QT gift card. Somebody, come on in here. All
okay,
right.
we're gonna switch things up a little bit.
We're gonna come back to our Week 12 preview later in the game. Yeah, pull up a chair. Come in the middle here. What's your name? Jet.
Yep.
Roman, nice to meet you.
All right.
All right, Jet. So, you are going to be the first participant. I got to go back in our script here. In our GSV trivia challenge. So, here are the rules. We're going to give you 5 questions. If you get 4 out of the 5 questions correct,
you gotta hide it.
You get a free GSV T-shirt. If you get all 5 correct, you get the T-shirt and a $50 QT gift card. You get 1 chance to call up a friend to help out with one of the questions, and you get 1 minute for each of the answers. All right? So you don't have all day, but Yep. Here we go. All right, ready? So we're gonna start easy, then get a little bit harder as it goes on. So. Current Kirkwood head football coach Jeremy Macklin was inducted into the College Football Hall of Fame in 2023. What school did he play for?
Mizzou.
Mizzou, that is correct. Jet got
you had to
first
know
question
that one.
right. Yep.
Yes.
Started easy. 1 of 1. Nice job, Jet. All right, here we go. Next question. Kirkwood has won 2 MSHSAA football state championships. Which years did they win?
2016 and.
That's correct. So 1 more.
2015. I don't know.
I'm sorry, that is incorrect.
Incorrect.
We were looking for 2012.
That's okay. That's okay.
You were in the neighborhood on that one.
Close. Yeah, close.
Yeah.
All right. Next question. Kirkwood football has said 6 players make it to the NFL. Other than Macklin, name 1 of those players. We did name one of them earlier in the show. I don't know if you were here to listen to it, but
McCole Pruitt.
That is correct, and he was the guy.
That is correct. He was the guy we shouted out. All right. Question number 4, here we go. The head coach of the 2016 Kirkwood State Championship team was previously on the coaching staff at Eureka for 25 seasons. Who is that coach?
I heard his name before. I don't know it.
You've definitely heard his name before.
Do you want to phone a friend?
Yeah.
What do you guys get over here? Friends, come help out.
All right. Do we know who
Don't look it up. That's cheating. Don't use your phone.
That would take a decent Google search
that
to
would
do
make
that.
it less fun.
Yeah.
No one want your friends leave you high and dry, man. That's brutal.
Yeah, I don't think they know it anyway.
That's crazy.
Do we give them initials?
10 seconds. Any final guesses?
No guess. I don't got a guess.
The correct
All right.
answer to that is Farrell Shelton.
Yeah.
So he was a Eureka alum, actually, and then went on to coach at Eureka as an assistant for 10 years and was their head coach for 15 years. And then his very first year as head coach here, he played Eureka in the playoffs and beat them.
Yeah.
Funny story. Yep.
And then won state in 2016.
So, last question.
This might be a little easier.
Yeah. 4 St. Louis area high schools won football state championships last season in 2024. Name those 4 schools.
Think of some just
Alright.
programs that you might come to mind.
Okay.
Mhm.
DeSmet
Yep, that's one of them. They won Class 6 in Missouri.
or Platte County. Oh
That's
wait.
correct. But it's correct.
Oh,
but
it's St.
we're looking
Louis?
for St.
Okay,
Louis. Yeah,
okay,
that's
okay.
correct. They won Class 5.
Okay,
But yes, that is.
That's good
Yeah. Seriously.
trying to think.
You're good. Yeah, we got 3
Cardinal-
teams left.
Cardinal Ritter.
That is
No, they are
incorrect.
incorrect. But you can keep
We'll
guessing
keep
though.
going here. So
They did lose to one of these teams though. That is Class 4, private school.
I honestly have no idea.
Lutheran North was in Class 4.
So there were also 2 Illinois teams that won state championships. We know you know one of them.
We hope you do.
We hope you know one of them.
East St. Louis.
That's correct.
Bingo.
Okay, good. I didn't want to prop you up and say,
No.
oh, you know this one, and then didn't get it. So I'm glad you got that one. If you get this one, that'd be kind of impressive because they won in a small school class.
Yes.
What was the other team in Illinois that won a state championship last year? It was in Class 1,
Oh,
so it is tougher. Yeah.
I have no idea.
I'll give you a hint. Deere Hill Jr. played here last year.
Current Oregon Duck Deer Hill Jr. played at this school last season.
I have no clue.
We're looking for Althoff Catholic Crusaders.
Yeah, I knew I heard of it before. I didn't have it on my head.
Hey, that
All
is
good.
okay. Everyone give it up for Jet. He did a great
you,
job
Jet.
here participating with us. After the show, you know what? Because we have plenty of t-shirts to give away, and you did get, I think, 4 of the questions partially right. I'll give
Yeah.
you some credit there.
They're happy for you.
See me after we're done previewing the Week 12 games, which we got to go through pretty quickly. See me after the show, and I'll get you a t-shirt. All right? So, Jet, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Take it
Thank you very
easy.
much.
Uh,
We'll wrap up in about less than probably around 20 minutes or so.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you're in the student section, we'll be on the field. So
Yeah.
just come see us.
We might throw some stuff out there too. All right. Thank you very much.
Hey, this just goes to show that this is all for the fans. We want you guys to come here, have a great time, earn some prizes, learn some ball. Just have a good time. And this is what it's all about. All right, going back into our Week 12 preview.
As I was
We'll have
saying,
to go quickly through here.
as I was saying,
Ritter game.
Ladue doesn't have a chance against Cardinal Ritter.
Oh my, come on now.
I
mean,
don't-
I wouldn't say it's 0%. I'd say it's like 0.1%. But
Like a lot of people know that I'm a Ladue alum, but we're trying to. The wind is
of course,
not
the
being
wind
nice
picks up
here.
right now at the end of the show.
Yeah. It's been a great season for Ladue this year, but like we're about to go into Cardinal Ritter, but Ritter is a fantastic team. Their 3 losses this year have been to incredible competition: Jackson, Massillon, Ohio, and CBC. They're actually one of the few teams, I think, one of 2 teams besides, including SLU, that have held CBC to under 50
Yes.
points this entire season.
Yeah.
So
Crazy stat.
Yeah, so Ladue's got a pretty good defense themselves, but I just don't really see how they're going to move the ball offensively. And I know for a fact that they have a few starters on their offensive line injured for this game, so it's got to be a struggle. But it would definitely be. I think if they were to win this game, it might be the biggest upset of the night.
Oh, it absolutely would be.
Yeah.
Next up, this is a game that I really wish I could go to, and I'm glad I'm here, but this game is going to be an absolute war. Troy at Zumwalt West for the Class 6 District 4 championship. Thunder and Lightning for Troy. Carter Dowell and Chris Wenger is an amazing combo. Carter Dowell runs downhill so well, so hard to tackle, and Chris Wenger is extremely shifty. And, Carter Schaefer, a sophomore QB, has stepped in really well to his role, can make some really good throws whenever he needs to. And Zumwalt West here is looking for their 2nd district championship in a row. QB Clayton O'Brien has been improving as the season goes along, and really trusts his athletic receivers like Garrett Dixon and Jaden Joyce. And the Zuma West defense has been lights out. They're one of the best defenses in the area.
I mean, they held Kirkwood to 10 points in week 1, and I don't think anybody's really come close to that since
Nope.
then. So they're capable of playing incredible defense. But this is it's a little different against Troy with this, contrasting styles what Troy brings. So very physical team in Troy, and I think you and I might differ on this one. I have Troy winning this game. I really like their rushing attack. Their defense has been able to step up so far in the postseason. Their offense has been great. I wouldn't say entirely unstoppable, but close to being unstoppable because they both scored over 40 points against Francis Howell and St. Dominic.
These are two great teams. These are two great coaches. Coach Pike for Zuma West, Coach Wiggers for Troy. I'm going to go with the Jaguars. I think this is going to be a really, really close. I mean, this game is going to be so physical. I mean, these offensive lines are going to be beaten and bruised after the game ends, but this one should be a ton of fun to watch. Next up, Live for Life at Valley Catholic. Second week in a row where Live for Life plays a team from St. Genevieve, Missouri. Live for Life is easily one of the most talented teams in the entire state in Class 3. Phoenix Isaiah is an incredible QB. Seven Jackson, a running back. TJ Woolfolk, a receiver. Keelan Henderson, a receiver as well. And they can score from anywhere on the field.
Yeah, they can. No defense is really safe with Live for Life's offense on the field because they can score at any second. And this is speed that Class 3 just isn't used to seeing. It's been a little while, I think, since we've seen a really talented team like Live for Life as fast as they are with their team speed since maybe Cardinal Ritter a few years ago when they were in Class 3 in 2022. So it's been a few years. I like this championship factor, by the way. I like how Ritter's competing in Class 5. But anyway. But Valley Catholic is incredibly well coached. Second all-time in state championship.
15 state championships for Valley Catholic.
There you go. And this is an undefeated team. I forget their mascot.
The Warriors.
The Warriors. Okay, thank you. This game is being played in St. Genevieve at their football stadium is not at Valley Catholic, but it is Valley Catholic's own football stadium there. It's all the way down there. Unfortunately, we could not get a camera to that game. We would have loved to be there, but this is a game I think could go either way. Probably a lot of St. Louis people would pick Live for Life just because, especially if they've seen them, and when they think of Class 3, they don't think of that speed. And Valley Catholic, their raw enrollment would put them in Class 1. Mm-hmm. So that would be an incredible win for Valley Catholic tonight. And I'll stick to my pick'ems that I made earlier today. I am picking the Warriors to win this game. I don't think it would be an upset entirely, but this is a very well-coached team. St. Genevieve gave Live for Life a lot of problems last week, and Valley Catholic beat St. Genevieve. At the same time, though, if Live for Life, if they just can take care of the ball, don't put themselves in holes and play a fairly clean game of football, then I think they should be able to beat Valley Catholic then ultimately.
I'm going to go with the Hawks in this national anthem.
We're going to adhere to the national anthem. Thank you, guys. We're patriotic here. That's not the national anthem. That's the band, I think, practicing the national anthem.
That is hilarious. We just got duped live on
You
air.
got duped. And
I got duped. I got tricked by the Kirkwood band. That is a massive L for me. I heard the band start playing the national anthem, and the music turned off, and everyone around us stopped moving because I was like, oh, crap, national anthem. We roll. Next up, Breese Central at Cahokia. Breese Central has been great on both sides of the ball as of late. Oh, that's why it was quiet, because they're playing in the air tonight by Phil Collins.
Yeah, they are.
That's
I'm like,
quiet.
why are they playing the national anthem, but Phil Collins is also going as well?
Whatever. Owen Kerr at QB and Cole Davis at running back have been great for the Cougars and Breese Central. And Cole Davis is one of their anchors on defense as well. And Bryce Weeder and Jackson Campworth have done great on defense for the Cougars. And they've only allowed 20 points or more once this whole season with 11 games through.
Yeah, Central's only loss was to a really good Mount Zion team who actually lost in the first round to Waterloo, who Breese Central defeated. And Cahokia has been really steady all season long. They're 9-2 going into this game. Interesting loss to Sycamore week 9, and then their only other loss was a 20-14 loss to none other than the Live for Life Hawks. So this is, I think, two pretty tested teams given for the level of Class 4 in Illinois, and these are two really good programs that have been around the last. I mean, Central they've had a winning record ever since 2019, and Cahokia they've been off and on, but these last 3 years they've been particularly pretty good themselves. And it's a pretty cool deal that they're playing in the quarterfinals in Class 4 because we're guaranteed one Class 4 team in the semifinals, which we had that opportunity last year, but we weren't able to get it because both these teams lost in the quarterfinals. So both these teams are going to be making it a huge emphasis to win this game for themselves. And yeah, Carrera's had a great season. He's only a sophomore, and Cole Davis is a 1,000-yard running back. He's also a fantastic linebacker too. And Cahokia has got a lot of speed. Like you mentioned, Mekhi Henderson, Donald Collier, Nigel Gooden's a really good junior quarterback. Ultimately, I think Central's defense has been really good, and their offense put up good numbers. I'm going to lean toward the Central Cougars in this one.
I'm going to go with the Cougars as well. Second to last game we're going to cover. This is a lot of people say the biggest game in the state of Missouri this week. 10-0 Lafayette versus 10-0 CBC for the Class 6 District 2 championship. CBC has the best offense in the Midwest. Nick McClellan is the heavy favorite for Missouri Class 6 Player of the Year. He has unbelievable arm strength, elite change of direction ability when he's running, and makes great plays in the ball when he's playing safety on defense. Vic Williams has 91 carries this year for 1,256 yards and 14 touchdowns, and he leads the area in yards per rush at 13.8. He's averaging almost 1.5 first downs every carry, which is crazy. And the second either McClellan or Vic Williams gets into open space in the middle of the field, it's over. It is over.
Yeah, their speed is incredible, and yeah, only 91 carries for that.
Yeah,
for that many
91
yards.
carries. Yep.
Yeah, that's insane. It really is. And he's averaging a first down. When you're a starting running back and you're averaging a first down per carry, your offensive line must be incredible, as well as yourself too. But yeah, CBC's offensive line underrated. They're not a whole lot. I don't think any of them are offered, but have any D1 offers, but maybe at least one or two should after this season. But yeah, Lafayette, on the other hand, they have been extremely consistent yet again this year, even more so with Brady Misek leading the way. He's got a little over 1,500 passing yards a game, and he's a good weapon to use as a runner too. Terrance Bills and Tim Washington are two really good receivers for the Lancers. And not a fantastic running game, but you've seen them play in person. They're really good at taking what they're given, and they're really well coached in doing so.
Yeah, and they got a very underrated defensive front seven anchored by defensive lineman Christian Woodfork. They're just very physical, very, very unafraid of contact, and this is probably their biggest test in program history. I mean, you could say that this is the best team they've ever played since they became a school in the 60s.
Yeah, and
this is going to be an incredibly tough test for the Lancers.
That's saying a lot because Lafayette, they've been around. I think they've been to 6 Final Fours, and they've played in Class 6 a lot, and in Class 5 when that was the biggest class. And so that's a bold claim, but it's not crazy by any means. And it very well may be if CBC goes on to win a state championship. But I think this is going to be a really competitive game. Obviously, I think if anybody's going to blow anybody out, it's going to be CBC. But yep. I think, and by the way, I do know that CBC, I think last night for their last practice, they had the scoreboard at 28-26 with the final score next to it. They're as a motivator for their game last year against Kirkwood, where they shocked probably the biggest upset in the entire state last year.
Yeah,
took down CBC at CBC 28-26. So I think that too, it's going to be really hard to go in and just for another team to go in and take down CBC in the district championship game. That alone, I just can't really see how CBC loses this game. I think they're going to play, a good football game and come out with a victory.
I'm going to pick CBC as well. If Lafayette I hate saying this because Lafayette is an amazing team with an amazing talent level. But if Lafayette wants a chance to win this one, their D-line has to keep great gap responsibility in the pass game. If they open up too wide and let McClellan scramble, it's over. But yeah. I'm going to pick CBC in this one. Even Lafayette, I would say, is a top 5 team in the state. They're an incredible team, but CBC has proven week in, week out that they are the best team in the state. So I'm going to go with them this week. Last but not least, the game we are at tonight should be an absolutely incredible matchup. Eureka at Kirkwood for the Class 5 District 2 championship. Eureka has dealt with some injuries, some off-the-field stuff, but here they are in the district championship yet again. Patrick Hutchcraft has been one of the most underrated QBs in the area with his downfield throwing ability. And given the power run-heavy offense with Brandon Webb at running back, Eureka's going to have to pull their guards a ton and try and just wear down the Kirkwood defensive ends. Defensively, Zane Bone and Noah McCollum lead the team in tackles for Eureka, and this is a defense that swarms the ball really, really well. been stopping them between the tackles really well, and they've only allowed more than 24 points once this season, and it was to Lafayette. And for Kirkwood, Cooper Owens, who was on the show at the beginning, he's come out of nowhere to have one of the best seasons by a Kirkwood QB really ever. He's a shade under 2,300 passing yards, 21 passing touchdowns, only 1 interception, and it helps having lead athletes on the team to throw to, like Travis George Jr., Jacob Eberhardt, and Jameer Sloan. And as I mentioned during Coach's Corner, if you want to play man coverage against these guys, good luck, because you're going to need elite athletes to keep up with them.
Yeah, it's going to be a really interesting game, like contrasting styles. I think Eureka's probably going to want to control the clock offensively, keep Kirkwood's offense off the field. It goes hand in hand with what they want to do. It helps out their defense a lot too, saves their energy. Although they have mostly one-way guys, going either way, so they're good in that department. And then, for Kirkwood, score when they can, because it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard going up against Kirkwood's defense. So, when they got to take advantage of any good defense that Eureka has going up against them. And, Eureka, they got that 3-man front and 3 linebackers and, a lot of safety help back there. It's going to be a really interesting game, but we were told that Kirkwood had 19 penalties against Eureka first time they played. So if they can cut those in half, and Kirkwood still won the game too at Eureka. So if they can, Kirkwood, I think if they could just play a clean game of football, I think they go out and win this one.
Biggest thing for Eureka, have 0 turnovers. In the one game I saw in person against Lafayette, that was a really tough, close game. But once Eureka started to turn it over, the game was over. I mean, they got to keep the ball safe. But this should be a back-and-forth, physical, exciting game. Kirkwood is looking to repeat as district champions, and Eureka is looking for their 3rd district title in the past 9 seasons.
Yeah. So
what's your pick for this one, John?
I'm going with Kirkwood in this one. I really like their athleticism. Their defense has been really solid as well this season. Their defense goes a little bit under the radar too, just with how good they typically are offensively. And it's like I said, I think it's going to be a competitive game, and ultimately have Kirkwood coming out on top. And history's on Kirkwood's side because they're 3-0 all-time against Eureka in the playoffs, and then they're 7-4 all-time over Eureka overall as well. But there's been a lot of great games in a pretty short span of time historically against these two teams, and I think we're going to get another one of those games tonight.
I wish I had a raccoon skin Daniel Boone style hat so I could say, "Give me the Pioneers." I'm going to go with Kirkwood in this game.
Yeah.
But close. It literally took me about 3 days to decide who I was going to pick for this game. I think this is going to be a really, really hard-fought one. I mean, you're playing for your lives at this point. There's 2 very well-coached teams. Should be a ton of fun to watch. And we're both picking Kirkwood. And that's going to do it for us at Gateway Sports Venue Game Day. Good luck to all the teams competing out there tonight and tomorrow in the playoffs. I want to give a quick personal shout-out to coaches Brandon Gilbert and Derek Colquitt. Those are 2 of the guys that gave me the idea and gave us the idea to start this thing. And so hopefully we can keep this thing going, get it off the ground. And thanks to those guys for giving us the inspiration. And, yeah.
Yeah, thank you. I think you did a good job. I don't know about myself. But, thank you all for joining us live, and the few people in person too, more than a few people who've walked by as we get closer to the game time here. And by the way, 18 minutes till kickoff, so we have a game to cover too.
Oh yeah.
Thank you guys.
Thank you again to Corey Nestlage and the administration here at Kirkwood for letting us set up here and use their space. Could not thank them enough. This is very cool. We appreciate them coming here for our first real show. See you guys next time.
Peace, guys.